Madam President, I come to the floor this morning with my colleague from New Hampshire, Senator Kelly Ayotte, to talk about what we can do together to invest in America's 21st century manufacturing workforce. And as the presiding officer well knows, manufacturing is one of the great areas of opportunity for meaningful bipartisan cooperation that will move our country, our economy, and our working families forward. Although so many issues here these days seem to fall on partisan lines, Senator Ayotte and I are here today because we've come together on a bipartisan bill called the Manufacturing Skills Act. The bill has one simple goal, which we share: to spur reforms in manufacturing skills training across our country. That's it. Our bill would create a competitive grant program to help local and state governments design and implement manufacturing job training reforms that fit their own unique local economic needs. Once proposals come in, a federal interagency partnership would award the 5 strongest state proposals and the 5 strongest local government proposals with funding for 3 years to implement their targeted reforms to improve their manufacturing skills training. The funding doesn't all come from the federal government either. Something Senator Ayotte and I share some enthusiasm for is getting leverage for federal investment. The local or state government must match federal support 1-to-1. We're focusing on manufacturing specifically because it plays such a vital role in building communities and in strengthening our middle class. Last year, in fact, manufacturing contributed more than $2 trillion to our nation's economy. And in many ways, manufacturing has long been the foundation of our economy. Manufacturing jobs, as we know, are high-quality jobs. They pay more in wages and in benefits. Manufacturing is highly innovative. It's the area that invests the most in R&D of any private sector component. And over the last 3 years, manufacturing has started coming back steadily and, in fact, rapidly, with more than 700,000 new manufacturing jobs created in our country in the last 3 years. This is all good news. And I'm convinced the United States is poised to really compete in the manufacturing economy of this century. But we still face key challenges in the job market for manufacturing. There are manufacturers I've visited with up and down my state and that we've heard from across the country who are ready to hire but can't fill open positions. And the problem's only expected to get worse. By 2020, by some estimates, there may be more than 875,000 unfilled manufacturing jobs. Yet there remains no focused, targeted federal workforce development programs specifically designed to strengthen manufacturing skills. I think part of the reason is we often have an outdated view of manufacturing. It conjures up now dated images of dirty factories and unsafe working conditions and lower skilled labor. That's not the manufacturing workplace of today at all. So I'd be curious to hear my colleague from New Hampshire's thoughts about how manufacturing has changed and how we can work together to strengthen the skills of manufacturing workers in Delaware, in New Hampshire, and across our country.
Well, I want to thank my colleague from Delaware. It's really been an honor to work with him on the Manufacturing Skills Act. And we share the goal to ensure that manufacturing remains vibrant and a vibrant source of jobs in our economy. And in fact, training our workforce to have the right skills to address today's 21st century manufacturing, which is quite different from yesteryear, because today, as we look at manufacturing, the skills that our workers need: critical thinking and problem-solving abilities, math and writing and an ability to communicate, an understanding of the manufacturing process, and an ability to engage workers in improving that process. This wasn't necessarily the case 20 or 30 years ago, but the United States of America is poised and has an opportunity to really be the leader in advanced manufacturing. And we have such a talented workforce, but our workers, they need the type of training that is going to address this new type of manufacturing that is so focused on having the right skills and technology, use of technology and problem-solving skills that we know that workers both in New Hampshire and Delaware are quite capable of if we give them the tools that they need. A reality of today's world is that although our economy is bigger, we're more interconnected than ever before. And job training needs to be customized to the particular business, to the area, the city, the state, the local economy. There is no one-size-fits-all model, and this is especially true in manufacturing, as I've visited many manufacturers in our state, where different companies in different places need workers with varying skills. That's one of the reasons that I'm so enthusiastic about the Manufacturing Skills Act that Senator Coons and I have introduced together. Rather than prescribe job training standards or dictate reforms from Washington, our bill allows local officials, business leaders, and workers to come together in local communities to build training plans that fit their needs to help grow jobs in the community. Because Wilmington and Newark, Delaware have very different workforce challenges, perhaps, than some of the areas of New Hampshire, whether it's Nashua or Concord or Berlin. And we need to ensure that those local officials, that the local employers, and that the people of our states are really using the grants that we're able to provide under this legislation to design these training programs for those localities to really allow those workers to be trained for 21st manufacturing skills. By both targeting manufacturing and giving localities the flexibility and discretion to design reforms that fit their needs, we've come together on a bill that can help our country meet some of its most critical economic challenges and opportunities. Senator Coons, I know that you have a strong background in manufacturing and have worked very closely with employers in Delaware to hear from them and workers about what are the needs they have for job training to ensure that Delaware can have that 21st century workforce. I would love to hear more about some of the challenges you've heard about from employers and workers in Delaware.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank my colleague from New Hampshire. We are both from small states that are not nationally thought of as being leaders in manufacturing, but both New Hampshire and Delaware have deep and rich and broad manufacturing histories. Manufacturing is often in the common mind in America associated with Ohio or Wisconsin, Michigan or Indiana. But there are dozens and dozens of companies I have visited in Delaware that are small or medium-sized manufacturers, 50 or 100 or 150 employees, many family-owned, many working in particular niches of processing or manufacturing, profitable, growing, and looking to hire. And I know, having visited New Hampshire as well, that it also has a proud and strong history in manufacturing. And it's my hope that we can, given the regional experience and the base and the expertise of members of this body, come together with other bipartisan co-sponsors to strengthen and build this bill going forward. Before I got into public service, I spent 8 years working for a manufacturing company in Delaware, a materials-based science company that manufactures over 1,000 different products, all off the same chemical platform. And one of the things I did in my work there was to visit the dozens and dozens of manufacturing facilities that either the company for which I worked directly operated, or many of our partner companies that were licensees or distributors or a part of our supply chain. And the plant of today, the shop floor of today, bears very little resemblance to that of previous generations. They're the location of rich innovation, an amazing amount of collaboration and teamwork, where world-class, cutting-edge quality control and continuous innovation are expected, needed from our workforce, and thus investment in wages and in skills is also a critical part of our continuing to be globally competitive, as Senator Ayotte has explained. And as the skills we need our workers to have vary depending on the product and the market segment and the region, we also need to have training programs that are flexible and that meet exactly what the local needs are. I'll give two quick examples, if I might. I have visited from the southern end of my state, SPI Pharma in Lewis, Delaware, which manufactures the key component of Maalox and many other antacids, to BASF in Newport, which manufactures pigments. And I hear similar challenges, even though they're in quite different areas of manufacturing. Their specific needs are for process operators who are skilled at working in a factory where large amounts of complex suspensions, liquids, are being mixed, moved around, and fashioned into finished products. They need workers who understand programmable logic control systems and can ensure that quality control, continuous improvement in quality control is in place. And they know that if they're going to keep growing and they're going to keep exporting and they're going to be globally competitive, they need to stay at the absolute top of their game, which means investing in workers and their skills. They're struggling to find young people to replace those who are aging out of their manufacturing workforces. Our community college, Delaware Technical and Community College, a national leader, is helping and is actively engaged. But as the equipment and processes of today's manufacturing plant become more advanced and more computerized, they'll need help keeping up with changing technology so that the skills they train for today are the actual skills that companies like SPI Pharma and BASF in Delaware need in this century. So the Manufacturing Skills Act could be a real help in Delaware to lots of manufacturers I visited, and it'll allow local and state officials partnering with our schools and our chamber leadership and our manufacturers to build a system that fits our real needs at our local level. I think that's exciting, whether you're from New Hampshire, from Wisconsin, from Delaware, from Indiana, knowing that we are willing to come together in a strong and bipartisan way to lay a pathway forward for America's manufacturing workforce gives me some reason for optimism as we begin to conclude this session of Congress and as we look forward. And I want to close by specifically thanking Senator Ayotte for being such a positive, forward-looking partner, not just in this bill, but on many other issues we've worked on together in the years that we've served so far in this body together. And I'd love to hear more from my colleague from New Hampshire about the manufacturing challenges faced in New Hampshire, how this bill might address them, and what our path forward is for this piece of legislation.
Well, I want to thank my colleague from Delaware. As I look at the new Congress coming in, I really view our bill, this Manufacturing Skills Act, as an opportunity where we can all work together to help workers and employers across the country meet the challenges of ensuring that manufacturing continues to thrive and grow in this country. And these are good paying jobs where the workers who are excellent and want the opportunity just need the skills, need the type of technology training, need the understanding of process like the lean process and how we can improve our manufacturing. And this bill that we've worked on together really is one that will allow those local decision makers to put together the best training that is going to help create good paying jobs, not only in Delaware and New Hampshire and Wisconsin, but across this country. And so I think this is a bill that I hope we can take up very early on in the next session and get behind. In New Hampshire, there are 66,000 jobs that are directly connected and related to manufacturing. And as I travel to visit employers, manufacturing employers throughout our state, I've been hearing the same things that my colleagues from Delaware has heard, and that is that they are challenged in actually finding the right workforce for excellent paying jobs and for opportunities that really would be very good opportunities. And what they need is some partnerships and help to get that trained workforce in place. And like Delaware, New Hampshire has had some strong partnerships among the private sector and community colleges in my state, and we need to do more of that. And I think our bill will allow those local education institutions to partner with private employers, to partner with state and local officials to ensure that the training is valuable and that everyone has a stake ensuring that we have the right workforce going forward. I want to thank some of the businesses I've had the privilege of visiting in our state, and so many have told me this, whether it's Burndy in Littleton or Velcro in Manchester or Codet in Colebrook or Hypotherm in the Upper Valley, that our private sector is really focusing on this issue, and our Manufacturing Skills Act can help move forward ensuring that our workers have the right skills and that we can grow jobs in this country. I want to thank Senator Coons for his leadership on this issue and really the work that he has done every single day in this body to ensure that the people of Delaware have good paying jobs and the right workforce training. And this is a goal that I share with the senator from Delaware. I also want to thank him for his leadership on other issues, including the protection of this nation and many issues that he has become an expert on in this body. And I would hope, Madam President, that we could all get behind bipartisan solutions like that offered by my colleague from Delaware, and that I hope many of our colleagues will think about joining us on this Manufacturing Skills Act, and that as we go into the new Congress, this will be a priority of our leadership to bring this bill to the floor for a vote right away. I want to thank you, Madam President. I want to thank my colleague from Delaware for his leadership and work on this important issue, and I look forward to continuing to work on this till we get this passed.